Hello, GM. We are back with the Dollar Trade Show, and today with me I have Nick and Aggie. Welcome, Aggie.
Hi, it's nice to be back.
It's great to have you here. What's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
All right. Yeah, nothing to complain about yet today. Past 2 days have been calm. Monday
Indeed.
was not calm, but the past couple of days were.
Don't worry, man. Let complaining with me. I'm good with that. Unfortunately, guys,
Yeah.
let's remember. So, this is the Dollar Trade Show, the best vibes in prediction markets and content. So, yeah, before we start, let me just do this disclaimer. Nothing that we say here is financial advice, neither should be considered as that. Some life advice, especially from Nick and Aggie. I don't know what I'm talking about. They are the experts here. Okay, let's get started, guys. Let me share my screen here. We have a shit ton of content to cover today.
Show us the
And
goods.
yeah. So let's start with this from Dash. Dash, shout out to Dash. He's coming to the show in a couple of weeks. So over 2 million unique users have now interacted with Polymarket. This month is on track to close with 600,000 unique users. Around 400,000 of these will be returning once, which two-thirds of people are seeking. So retention is really high. Yesterday was also a daily user all-time high for Polymarket with over 117,000. Guys, I think this, so I wanted to talk about this because it doesn't represent only what's happening with Polymarket, but with the industry as a whole. So if we check this here, since October to 2021, we remember around here was the top of the markets, the previous top around the US elections 2024. But look at this chart.
Yeah. Who remembers them saying that after the elections they'll die? Who remembers them saying this? They
Mhm,
were so
mhm.
confident, these fucking pundits, but they
Yeah, yeah,
did not
yeah.
have any data and they had no idea what was going to happen. So yeah, and
Yes,
and it's across the board with all of the major prediction markets are seeing this.
it is, it is.
Kalshi
So,
and
yeah.
Aggie can talk about Kalshi at this moment if she likes.
I can talk about a lot of things. Well, I think they're just obviously growing like exponentially, and it just kind of like signals it's not just like a one-off thing. People are returning to this, and more people are coming. It's like basically signaling kind of like a habit formation. It's like becoming a habit. It's not just something like, oh, let me just do elections and then wait for another year or two. This is
Mhm.
like becoming a thing that people want to do like all the time. It's just like not one-off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the most interesting part of these, on top of how high is coming, is the retention. Damn, two-thirds of the users coming back. This is a great retention for any app. And yeah,
Yeah, for
I
any
think yes. So I think crypto did found a product market fit with prediction markets. And this was just interesting. I don't have these data for from other sources, but this is how much of silver, because I think everybody's timeline was on gold and silver these days. People were going crazy of the all-time highs. Everybody was expecting all-time highs for Bitcoin, but yeah, here it is. We have gold and silver reaching all-time highs, and this is from Dash as well. And he was highlighting almost $5 million in volume in a single day on people trading silver on prediction markets. This is from Polymarket, but I just assume that it has been the same for Kaushi in an opinion as well. Which
Yeah,
damn,
that's pretty wild.
it
It
is.
is absolutely crazy. I just took a snapshot of it the other day and I was like, shit, silver's almost like $100. That's mad. In
Yeah,
defense of
yeah.
Bitcoin, we went to 125K and nobody said anything.
Nobody care,
Everybody's
right?
just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just like we
Uh-huh.
didn't get our 250K number, so we're not interested. It's just like it was a huge
Yeah.
number that,
Yeah. Yeah.
that Bitcoin
Uh,
went to before it collapsed.
Yeah. What I wanted to highlight here, it's how prediction markets as a new niche of let's say of the industry. It reflects and it walks hand to hand with what's actually going on real life. So it's not only so if you're following the price of any asset in traditional markets, people are also doing the same on prediction markets, and this shows exactly that prediction market reflects what's going on uh, in traditional finance as well and in real life. So it's crazy. I mean, the communication between them.
Yeah.
And okay, I think this
Oh,
is
this
the
is
last
fun.
data, but this is really cool. This is pretty cool. So this is from
It's a chart
Danny.
that moves. It's interesting.
It's
Look at that.
interesting.
Look
It's
at those
interesting.
lines.
And it's getting more interesting. So prediction markets don't all aggregate information the same way. Sports bets accumulate volume early on and flattens near the end, while news markets stay quiet and rise at the very last portion, right before resolution. Very different game and edges to play. So this is what is moving here. On the left here we have news, and on the right we have sports. What she's showing here, it's how volume increase really fast on sports at the beginning, and then it kind of flattens. And it's the opposite what happens here with the news. It starts slow and then it gets traction in the end. And then I was talking to her about this, and so she says here, even more visibility, different attributes when plotting the distribution by group. Data samples is from all the markets that had more than 50 million notional volume stored on Polymarket. And I asked, what do you think behind this? My guess is that news outcomes have more room to develop, while sports events evolve faster. So traders wait longer in the news until there's real clarity. And to this, she said, I feel there are lots of factors to dig further, but two main ones. Sports markets are usually with known facts and a more predictable outcome. Injury players, historical stats, so the info is out already in the past. There's, of course, since we have sports betting and sports booking around for ages, there's a lot of data on that. So I think people are kind of more confident to play around with that. And the user profile are different too. That sports may have more retail, while for news markets, because it's latency and timing game for not revealing info early and place bets the moment news is in. There are a lot more sophisticated traders. Guys, what do
Yeah.
you guys think about this? I think it makes total sense what she's saying here.
I'll let Aggie run in.
Yeah, I mean, I think like news and all these like political markets basically price like uncertain information. So like the liquidity waits till like the signals kind of become like undeniable, because like I think for a lot of people the edge comes from understanding when the truth like actually arrives rather than like just what it is. So I think that's why like the whole timing in sports and other news is like so different.
Yeah. I think it may be fair. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it may be fair to say that the outcome of a sports game is more baked in at the beginning of the match than it is at the end. You know, like you can see two teams and you're like, there's a high chance, there's a very high, even an uneducated person could be like, there's a high chance that team will beat that team. Maybe like things like tennis and stuff like that, very fast games, maybe basketball, and that's a bit different. But I'm thinking more like football or soccer, as you guys call it. Over here, like unless there are two of the very top teams, that you can kind of almost guess who's going to win, unless it's like something really outlandish happens and a really small team beats a massive team.
Yeah, typically, because you look at like teams like their win-loss record, like, you know, their winning streak and things like that. There's just like, I feel like a much more reliable data and things like that versus for like elections or other news. It's just like, it's like a bit more like, anything can happen.
And pricing, because there's millions, like for example, like the pricing on silver, like millions and millions of people are trading that every day. And you don't know at what point the market will get spooked or become bullish. And you're just like, you're kind of like working with that one.
Yeah, so my take is, I think the amount of data that we already have available for sports, how people are already used, so people have experience doing that, so they feel more comfortable, and it's shorter events as well. So as you mentioned, Nick, so in the beginning of the game, I don't know if someone got injured or if was a penalty that was unexpected, the outcome is kind of decided. It can be decided in the first 10 minutes of the game sometimes.
So, there's definitely a lot more, I feel like, momentum in sports than in other things. Like you kind of just teams get caught up. I mean, I play tennis and it's kind of like, you know, sometimes just start winning and winning. It's kind of like hard to like get out of that. So I think that happens in sports. But I think that was a good point you brought up, that like people been doing sports, betting for a long time. So they're just used to the system. They know how to trade. So now like the prediction markets they just like know like, what to do. Whereas I think about other topics that are still kind of like learning. There's like a learning curve or like, oh, I can trade this information or this news or this topic. So I think there's still just like people just don't know. They're not comfortable yet.
And that's it. I think people already know where to look when they are trading sports. I think that's a really important point.
That's a really good point. The information is kind of aggregated in one space, whereas other things, kind of like the Nobel Peace Prize, which I hark back to all the time.
Yeah.
Like the way the information was found around that, it was a very spurious piece of information hidden in a file system on somebody's server, right? It was just like you have to dig a lot to win that market.
Yeah, we're going to talk about people who are trading in weather. So there are ways to trade. I mean, there's ways to study and predict how the weather is going to be in a few days, and people are spending a lot of time and have been spending a lot of time on this for years now. So you have systems and you have a lot of data on that. You don't have the same systems for trading politics or for trading mentions, for example. So I think these markets that aggregate the system and data already, it's kind of easier for people to enter.
Yeah, I mean, for weather, they have all these like models and everything, and you can see like, oh, this is the prediction, this is where the wind, this is how like, this whatever the water is moving, so it's going to happen here. So they have all these crazy models, and people, that are in that industry know how to use them.
That's it. I think that's the case. So let's move forward here, and shout out to Kaushi on this one, and Adhi as well. So I'm genuinely proud of Kaushi for not listing this market. So the market was another reason why Polymarket is better than sports. Dude, they create a market on a coin toss. And just for context here, a coin toss is when at the beginning of the game, the referee he toss a coin to know if it's heads or tails so people choose who's going to start first. It has nothing to do with your expertise because it's a fucking coin. It's going to be heads or tails. It's 50% chances to go to one side or the other side. So there's no knowledge, there's no edge, there's nothing. It's pure luck. And then he said, I'm genuinely proud that Kaushi is not listing this market and not going down the path of markets based on synthetic risk, meaning markets that are purely luck-based, like coin toss, roulette, slots. The market would certainly be successful, drive some growth, and make a great chunk of change for any exchange. Leaving that money on the table is the right thing to do here. And I totally agree with this. Guys,
I'm just looking up what's the volume on this market right now.
So this in Polymarket board. I don't know. Like I feel like that's one of those harmless betting markets that like people aren't going to bet crazy amounts of money in it and then it be like overturned. It is like just completely random.
Do you guys see what's the volume on it?
Let's see, Super Bowl XL.
I don't see it, but anyways, yeah. I mean, I think Adi like has a point. I mean, it's definitely a bit of a like. It kind of like dilutes the core promise, I think, of prediction markets, where like the price is like the insight versus here there's no insight. Like there's no price. It's just pure. Like it's literally a like coin flip. Like exactly like
What was the volume?
Where is the volume? I don't see the volume here. It should be
that's
here.
What I'm saying.
It should be here.
No volume.
It's so bad.
One guy bet. It's still 50. Is it still 51? 51 yet?
There's people.
One or the other. Like it would be weird if it was like 80% tails. Like what?
I like tails. Like it's an emotional market. You just pick the side you like the most. Right.
Well, I mean, you could analyze and be like, oh, the last 10 Super Bowls, it was this is what happened, but like that has no bearing whatsoever.
It's random. Yeah, it's totally random. But
last 10 were tails doesn't mean it's going to be tails.
That's it. It's totally that's it. That's it. They are independent events. There's not a chain of. It's not a chain reaction. It's just independent. It can be anything at any given time. It could be no. Anyway, it's probably isn't still random anyway. So moving forward, this is the original post, and this comes from the Coalition for Prediction Markets. Don't conflate American regulated prediction markets with unregulated offshore markets. We know who you guys are talking about. Full page ad in the Washington Post today. CFTC regulated prediction markets already ban insider trading. Regulated, so regulated. It's onshore, US based, CFTC oversight, customer vetting, prohibiting insider trading. This is not, for me, I have a position on this. This is not a good thing, guys. Unregulated, offshore, no oversight, no vetting, no prohibition. Congress, let's continue to work together to keep prediction markets safe and transparent for consumers here in America. It's, I mean, it's convincing. It has these benefits to be regulated, but my point of view is there are benefits on not prohibiting insider trading. I get it. I get it. I know what you guys are doing here, and I think there's there's value in this. Some people will prefer to be unregulated, but some other people, it makes more sense, and I've been saying and repeating here. If the goal is to get the best and aggregate the best information possible as a truth machine, dude, we need those guys with the information that no one else has access to, even though that they make money and they have advantage to against other people. But yeah, what do you guys think about this?
I've got a cynical point around. There's a difference between banning it and enforcing it. Those are two different things. You can ban it, but if you don't enforce it, it doesn't matter if you ban it. So I would be keen to see the enforcement statistics around that. Like that would be a true point of transparency for the regulated prediction markets in general, right? Like and sports betting as well, sports books. Sorry, because you can say they're banned, but like we have seen prediction markets say that we have seen people who are essentially insiders announcing that they're trading on markets on regulated prediction markets. Like, is it literally being called out? So there is a difference between enforcing, and I'm looking for a really good example here. Sorry, guys, so I'll let you guys continue. But I'm looking for in the UK, they've got this law, and then I've found like loads of cases where they didn't enforce that law, and then they ended up getting fined heavily. I'm looking for that right now.
I'm kind of curious to see. So most of the time, and we have the Fed decision for the increase rate for the increase or not the rates in the US, and so we're talking basically about Kalshi and Polymarket, and Kalshi is regulated, and the fact that it's regulated and potentially has no edge with insiders, it doesn't change how accurate that is. So it's interesting. So even though I'm defending the side that we want insiders, so we have a better information, it doesn't mean that Kalshi gives worse information than Polymarket at all so far, which is interesting. Which is interesting. So I don't see I see people that clearly will prefer it and will feel safer playing around with a regulated infrastructure, but I don't see that they are going to be worse positioned against people who are trading on, for example, Polymarket. And we are talking about Polymarket, not the US version, because that's still not clear to me what they are going to do. Are they going to create specific markets for Polymarket US? Are you going to trade? I'm just assuming that if you are playing in Polymarket US, you have access to a few markets with specific liquidity that's not touching the kind of unregulated one. That's my thing here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like such an interesting topic in general, but I think most people, I guess, want to know like the truth. That's kind of like the whole point. So having like the insiders, and even if it's like banned, people can get around it, right? You can just do like small orders, like spread it across the accounts. So if people want to do it, they always find a way. It's just more like enforcement would be hard, like actually proving that was like insider trading and like how big the trade was, and then like how greedy people get, and they're only making like 10K. Of course, they're trying to make like 100K or $1 million. Then all of a sudden that does draw attention. So even like if it is banned, like you still have to like find that someone was an insider and they actually like prove it, and that I think that's like the hard part versus I think with like SEC and all those kind of regular traditional finance is just like a bit like easier than like prediction markets. So I think it's just like a hard game to play, even if you're trying to enforce it.
Sure. And
Diego, I'm going to quickly share my screen.
Sure.
So this is in the UK. So in the UK,
it
makes it a lot easier because it's not like state by state, and I presume there's not some aggregated view. But like in the UK, you've got all this is the gambling commission. So these are the guys that slap you with fines or ban you or send you to jail if you break regulations. Now, Paddy Power and Betfair are two of the like absolutely huge bookies in this country, and they're getting fined $2 million for regulatory failures. So it does. I'm so cynical with like the finance industry and the sports betting industry. It's just like you can stay regulated, but if you don't stand up and enforce your regulation, it really doesn't matter. Or if you continue to break the rules, I think there's one down here from a couple.
But
I
almost feel like a lot of these times where like companies, or I guess in this case more like individuals, would be charged with it doesn't even like fit the crime. Like, oh, you like made $1 million, but you have to pay like 250 like
exactly.
Like it's like it's almost worth doing it because you still end up like making money.
It absolutely is. Like this is the problem with regulators in general. We're getting into a sort of a whole other topic, right? But regulators do not fine proportionate to the amount of money that the company made for breaking the rules in any regulated industry. Like in Europe,
that's why
like they'll fine
it,
Google or Facebook, and they're like, "Here's a $2 million fine. We made 40 billion on this one." Right? It's just like we'll just keep doing that and keep paying the fines. I never really got that until I spoke to one of my mates. He was talking about Ripple years ago, and he was like, "This is what's going to happen. Ripple get dragged into the SEC. See, they'll get slapped on the wrist, said you're very bad. They'll pay a small fine, and then they'll just continue on." And that's exactly what happened to Ripple in the end. Like it was so, yeah. For me, regulation and it's so. I think it's for big players like to regulate industries to keep out other disruptors. That's my general vibe.
And just on top of that, I think that we are as human beings, we have this sense and these needs of control and to feel safe. And I think regulation bring this to the table. We give the idea that we have control of this stuff, that we can do stuff, we know what's going on. But I mean, it's clearly not the case because we've seen this in the banking and traditional finance happening.
Everywhere.
Okay, yes, I mean, if I can open a bank account, okay, I can use a friend, I can use a family member, I can still do stuff. In other words, people find ways to keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, but there's but I understand the value of. I don't want to say that. I understand the value of regulated markets, of course.
Yeah, it shouldn't be easy to like manipulate the market or be an insider trader.
Sure,
it shouldn't be easy, but I'm just saying the fact that like you can't like completely stop it. That's also true. It's just like two things can be true, you know.
As critical as I am, like there are stats showing that in the sports industry when it became regulated, like throwing matches and all that became like the crime around those sports games became less. So like regulation is good. I think what we're trying to do is like blend with prediction markets. We're trying to take old, and same with crypto, old legacy regulatory systems and apply them to an entirely new dynamic of technology that behaves totally differently. But saying now you're regulated as that, but like it's like when sports betting people say, "Oh, you're just doing sports betting and it's all in crypto rails and you don't control the contracts and the money isn't held in a centralized." Like there's so many differences to it that it deserves its own type of regulation, not to be put in the box with sports betting or necessarily financial tools, because it's somewhere in between, right? It needs its own little kind of window of regulation between the both of them.
Don't want to break this flow. We still have some regulation stuff to talk about, but just a note here. I'm going to clip this video and I get a cut to saying regulation is good, and I'm going to start to reply that on every post that I see about regulation in prediction markets. Never thought that I would live to hear you say that. Okay, this is from Daniel Wallach. So breaking, Tennessee Sports Wagering Council sent cease and desist letter to Kalshi, Polymarket and Crypto.com, demanding that they cease offering sports event contracts to Tennessee customers immediately, void all pending contracts, and issue refunds by January 31, lawsuits are imminent. Yes, I mean it's still going on. That's a fight that's still being fought, and that's it. I mean, as we mentioned on a couple of shows later, I think this will just. I don't think this will stop the evolution of this industry. It kind of slowed down a little bit sometimes. We still need this regulation clarification, but I mean, it's a fight that's being developed, and yeah, we
It
have.
will make it more difficult for new entrants to come in because there'll be a huge
Yeah, for
legal
sure,
barrier
for
for
sure,
them to scale up. That's
for
one of my
sure.
issues with regulation is it does slow innovation, and you'll hear that from a lot of tech people in general.
Yeah. And it might push builders outside the US, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like people I talked to in the show, and it's like so like uncertain, but everyone like keeps going at the same time, and they're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be sued, and it's just gonna keep going, and it's just like kind of like dragged down, and this could take like years. It's not like the solution, be like, okay, we're gonna make all the final decisions, next week for every single state. Like this
Yeah.
is just gonna be like, ongoing thing for years to come. So it's just kind of we just have to like,
And,
move along
and that's
with
an
it. Like
interesting
there's,
approach. That's an interesting approach by Kalshi because they're just going state by state and having the same argument. It must be dementing for the legal team in Kalshi to have literally the same argument 50 times. You're just like, okay, this is another one. We're just going to tell you the same things we told these guys.
Yeah, it's kind of like crazy. And yes, there's so many states, and each state, like you have to find like different wording, so it's not exactly same message. I feel like for each state, but like it has to be like adjusted slightly. But yeah, it's like mostly very repetitive.
Yeah, it's interesting. I find it interesting. I find the US way just so interesting because it is state by state, and I'm just like, God, like, and depending on what state, you get much different opinions on how good or betting. There seems to be a value between betting being a good thing or a bad thing for people in some of the conversations that I've seen, and it's just interesting to see like the color of difference all over the place.
I think there's also like I think the state gambling, like the argument is that like, oh, like all the tax revenue is like, we're gonna have less, it's going your way, but actually they just came out and it was also like the prediction action like data that they actually like recording, basically record gaming revenues last year, so they all went up. So it's like that's not even a valid point anymore, saying like, the tax revenue is going away.
So the tax, because the tax revenue would be state by state, right? I never even considered that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but that's actually last year was like record gaming revenues. So like it wasn't like that argument that like, oh, now we're making less tax. It's like it's not even true. Like so, it's just kind of like funny.
Okay, guys, talking about funny things, that I have something else to share with you. Damn, where's the button to share stuff? Sorry, guys, I got something going on with my browser here.
I've been using this for like 4 months. You don't know the share button.
I know.
There's always technical difficulties.
There's always a technical problem going on here.
My camera's not working.
No, it's just my my icons were over the banner. Okay, talking about something funny. Last week we saw Jeff Bezos replying to Polymarket. There was a tweet saying, "No, Jeff Bezos tells everyone to starting kind of low quality jobs, the kind of stuff." It was a stupid thing. And Jeff Bezos tweeted, "Nope, not sure why Polymarket made this." And I saw this a couple of days ago. So breaking, Yale tuition price being lowered to 0 for any families making under 200K. And it didn't seem correct to me. And I just changed it. I asked Grok to change that. Okay, what if no, not sure. Don't know why Polymarket made this up. And actually, it's not exactly this what's going on, guys. So it's just a point that they definitely got the clicks, 100K likes, over almost 2.5 million impressions. All the love to Polymarket, to their team. What they are doing is great. But these social media things, dude, that's not cool. And the thing is, there will be, so Yale, this oatmeal raising guy, replied to me with this original content here. And essentially what they are saying is, okay, The changes, which will go in effect in the new year, college students entering in 2026 or 2027 academic year, eliminate all expected costs for families with typical asset and annual income below 100,000, while ensuring that families with typical asset and annual incomes below 200,000 receive need-based scholarship that meet or exceed the cost of tuition. It doesn't mean that it's going to zero.
Totally wrong.
It's
Yeah.
not. I
No.
mean, it's
Yeah,
No,
I feel
it's
like
not.
that's really
when
incorrect. That's really
you're
inaccurate. I don't know
trying.
what they're doing there.
Yeah, I feel like when prediction markets are trying to be like taken serious and be like, oh, we're not gambling with this, we're like the truth engine and all these things,
That's
and then
it.
do all these like social media kind of stunts and like whatever crazy markets or posts or tweets, and then it's just like, okay, like yeah, you got like a lot of attention, but you also like lost some credibility. So like, I don't know, where's the balance and what the PR teams are advising to do, but it's just like kind of like interesting to me. It's like two different strategies, trying to be serious and then also trying to be funny. It's like you
That's
can never
it.
win.
Yeah.
How's
Yeah,
your
but you don't
primary
try.
account
You
as
don't try
well?
to be funny
Do
with
Polymarket
these.
jokes?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a joke, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a joke. I mean, I'm fine with doing jokes on social media all the time, but fuck, I mean, this is, and
Do you
I'm
think
not
this is
even
a
a
joke? Do
native.
you think that
I'm
that's
not.
a genuine mistake?
Maybe they have someone like me who's not a genuine English speaker, and they don't know how to write correctly. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Like,
This is why I use Grok and
yourself.
ChatGPT, guys. I mean, maybe you
You
should
gotta
start
double
as well.
check.
Yes, but anyway, I mean, all love to Polymarket and everybody who's building Polymarket, but dude, stop with this shit, bro. Please, it's bad for the industry as a whole. If you want to be a truth machine and you're saying that prediction markets are the best source of information aggregation, this is not good. Anyway, shout out to Kaushi. Kaushi Fed forecasts are as good as Wall Street's study says. I'm just not able to write this one down because I'm not paying Bloomberg. I'm not paying Bloomberg. That's it. But
I
if
know I
you
have
are,
a friend that
yeah.
has a subscription and they can like gift the articles. I think there's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
10 or something
Oh,
a
cool.
year. And I'm like, so if there's like an article I really need, I'm like, okay, I know how to ask. I'm like, to get my like one free article.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, this is why we have friends, right? Yeah. but,
Exactly. Just like a read Bloomberg.
I'm not claiming this offer. I trust you. I trust you, Bloomberg. I'm just not paying for this information. Okay, this is cool from Falsefin. If you're betting on prediction markets, read this. Economists tested 817 markets, proved someone with $50,000 can manipulate prices for 60 plus days. You'll think it's real market signal, but it's just one whale moving odds. Papers search which markets are most vulnerable, and then it explores the insider trading here. Not the insider trading, sorry, the market manipulation in some markets here. So I did my research and I searched for the original article. And you guys are going to have the link for this article in tomorrow's newsletter. Let's go to the abstract here. Let me know if it's big enough here. In this paper, we conduct a large-scale field experiment to investigate the manipulability of prediction markets. The main experiment involves randomly shocking prices across 817 separate markets. We then collect hourly price data to examine whether the effects of these shocks persist over time. We find that prediction markets can be manipulated. No surprise here, guys. But this is interesting. The effects of our trades are visible even 60 days after they have occurred. However, as predicted by our model, the effects of manipulation somewhat fade over time. Markets with more traders, greater trading volume, and external source of probability estimates are harder to manipulate. And I think this is the catch here. And this is something that we've been discussing a lot. I even wrote an article about that. I can share the link as well. So what we need to a better market regarding accuracy in a market which is closer to reality. More traders, because we have diversity when we have more traders. We have greater trading volume. And I would add, I don't know if I didn't read the article yet. What's the impact of open interest in each person, each trader position? But yeah, we need more volume there, an external source of probability. as we mentioned here for the weather. So if we already have systems, forecast systems that are already working outside prediction markets, that they can feed kind of better data into the markets, that could be something good. And I thought this was a really interesting one.
Does
And
it
it's
does
kind
it
of
does it
new.
hark back to the stuff the guys have been talking about having about black skulls in was it binary markets back in 1972? Like the markets were really easily manipulated. They weren't priced properly, and then they had to introduce a new, I think it was a new algorithm. And they're talking about doing it for prediction markets so that they don't take the shock as bad, and you can't manipulate them
Mhm.
as quickly, and the pricing is more accurate to the real time information. It sounds like there's a bit of a convergence of different ideas and different topics around like how much can you rely on them as if we're calling them truth engines, and as much as they do price the outcome accurately at the end, but it maybe the intermarket pricing isn't as efficient as it could be.
Mhm.
I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely something to it, especially like on markets that are just like low volume. Like you kind of have to feel like there might be different algorithms for like, oh, it's like under, 20K versus oh, it's over a million. It's just going to be like it's going to behave differently, right? So I think there
Mhm.
has to be some type of like, I don't know, I guess
Mhm.
algorithm that kind of like takes that into consideration. But I think also even like showing like when they show like a percentage, oh, it's like 82% likely to happen, but like actually like the next, the price you can buy it at is like 85 or 79. It's just like the percentage that like shown on call sheet is just like the last traded price. Doesn't mean like that's the price you can like buy in. And I think sometimes people also like don't look at that. It can actually be like quite different. It could be like 5 cents. I mean, I don't know on average what it is, but I've seen like that a lot as well. So you kind of have to like take all these like little things in consideration. Maybe that can be like automatically already like in the algorithm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
I
think
think I
Whirligigs
think
there was Andrew was I think you
Andrew,
were on the
yeah.
show with Andrew last time, the guy it's the super forecaster. He wrote an article on the things you
Mhm.
should look at, and he gives a checklist basically saying if you're using this for journalism, this is what you need to be looking at to be able to determine if you should use this as an accurate piece of information. It's a top article. It's really good. People like him make me smarter every day. I just
Yeah,
pass it
bro.
off as my knowledge. I know.
Like I wish like on Kalshi you could kind of like see like, oh yeah, you can see like, how many like shares or something and things like that, like bids and asks and all that, like what's the value. But like I wish they were like, oh, is it like by one person? There's like, let's say there's 1,000 shares available at certain price. Is it like by one person? Is it like 20 different people? Like I think that would just be cool to
Okay.
see
Yeah.
like how many people are holding kind of like what.
Okay, we are going to have Aaron from Calcinomics here, and they just are going to talk about the updates. Maybe something that they can track on platforms like Calcinomics, for example, and you can see that for different markets. We can ask him about it.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
cool. Like even if it's like market, let's say, oh, it's like 100K, in the volume, but like, okay, how many people are like
how many
participating in this
people? Yeah,
market?
yeah. You
Is
could
it
you
like,
could spot if someone
1,000
trying to
people or is it
manipulate.
10,000 people? That's just, I think, just kind of
Exactly.
like the wisdom of the crowd, right? You want to have more people participating rather than like few
Mhm.
large players.
It could be easier to understand if there's a lot of people with that same conviction, or if there's just one person with a lot of capital and potentially able to move the market, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That's a great point. So shout out to John Wang. John Wang, I love you, bro. Come to the show. Coinbase predicts powered by Kalshi is live. So we see how Kalshi is think. I will need to make this smaller here, Nick, so we can see. So now they integrated, Coinbase just integrated prediction markets using Kalshi infrastructure, which is huge, guys. So Coinbase is the biggest exchange in the US. They have millions of customers there. This is a great distribution for Kalshi, right? And we've seen how both Kalshi and Polymarket are fighting for
Yeah, I'm
distribution.
just trying to like look it up on my Coinbase.
Yeah, check this
See,
out.
there,
Check
yeah.
this out.
Because neither him
Yeah.
or I can see it, so we don't
Predict.
even know if it's true. You need to verify for
No,
us live on the show that it's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, it's
no, it is.
live.
Oh,
There you
cool.
go.
Okay, it's working. Okay,
Yeah, the
place some
government
bets. Place
shutdown.
some
Here
bets.
we
Let us know
go.
if it's working. Yeah, I wanted John Wang here because I missed having him on the show. At least his content here.
I
with
mean, it's a
Eric
cool layout. I
posted
can,
about it.
like the way, like kind of, I guess.
It is. It is. It is. It looks.
Like
It
the cool
looks good.
colors, yeah, yeah. I mean,
It
it's
looks
very
good.
similar, to basically, Kalshi, but it's just slightly different
And
color.
and by the way, if you are a designer, send a message, send a DM to John Wang because Kashi was hiring some designers, UI UX designers these days.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
they're very big on hiring off Twitter. So a lot of people, I feel like unless they're like crypto Twitter, native, they don't even use it, and that's where like I think a lot of cool companies are hiring.
Yeah. It works better. I mean, you get people who are actually using Twitter, and I mean, we want more of this interaction here. People are already using your product and they are active here. Okay, shout out to the guys from Space into Dot Space. Basically, what they are creating here, it's a leverage platform for prediction markets on Solana. It's not fully live yet, but they just shared a beta review. And this is something that more people are talking about. I mean, being able to have landing this integration between prediction markets and open other different financial tools in crypto, in DeFi, and leverage. I think leverage is going to be one of the biggest unlocks here. They just shared this version of the platform here. It's not open yet. It's on the wait list. But yeah, I think it's going to be something big. Leverage. I mean, people like to risk more capital than they have. Anyway,
Some people do. Crypto
some people,
Twitter
yeah.
certainly does, and that's why Solana's the
does.
perfect platform for it.
Don't know if you guys
I mean,
saw.
it's a good business
No, go
model.
ahead,
I think
go
I
ahead.
saw a stat that like most like day traders and or I guess non-professionals, it was some crazy number that they lose money. So and this is just gonna. Some people will make a lot more money with it, but most people will just lose a lot more money, unfortunately. But
yeah,
Don't know if you guys saw this. Speculation is getting back, guys. So we have Pump.Fun reaching all-time high in returning users and in tokens graduating. So we are getting back there.
Who is their exit liquidity? That's what I don't understand. Because they killed everybody else. So who's the exit liquidity on these meme coin launches?
It's PvP.
That was the kind of big thing at the end of the summer last year when prediction markets were starting to like really fire up, and we had all acknowledged at that point that the meme coin cycle was pretty dead, and all the meme coin guys and all the traders was like, oh, well, you can't make as much money as you can on meme coins on these prediction markets. And it's because they wanted leverage, right? That's really what they were saying, because Hype was smashing it back then. And that was just because of all the leverage that they could get with it. So
did you guys do any like meme coin stuff?
No,
not really.
I never.
But did a lot of money.
People like explain it to me 1,000 times, and then I'm like, when I'm like, for me, like, I'm still like, I just like, why would I ever do that? Like, I just don't get it, like the value in it. I don't know.
There is no value in it.
No,
some people will try to tell you that there's a culture around it, and meme coins are going to build these really big communities in the future. But I think they're just literally full of shit. And it just
doesn't like. It's just not how I guess want my community to be built. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm always like, it's just like mentally, I just like don't like see the appeal, but I know a lot of people do, and I'm like, and they keep explaining it to me, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
I don't.
So I can't say shit about meme coins because one of the best times of my life in crypto. So I was back in Denver with some friends who were sharing a house, and suddenly the guy just said, "Dude, the CEO of Polygon just posted about this. It's got a bonsai." It was a meme coin on Polygon. I had like $400 in a Polygon wallet there, and say, okay, fuck it, let's buy this shit. And we were just like crackheads for like 4 or 5 hours tracking everything about that. And in a span of a few hours, that shit went to $2 million FTV to like $20 million. So we were all able to transform like $400 in $4,000 in a few hours. And then I exited that shit, never look back. I shouldn't sell because the shit went higher. But that's fun. That's fun. And because I was with friends, it was a good experience because I was with friends. We made fun together. But every time that I try to replicate that, like 10 times later, I probably lost more money than I made on that trade. And that's my experience. So I'm
Unless you
just
get the
not good at that.
ticker like before everybody else or right as it's going live, you're not making money.
Yeah,
That's
my feeling.
That's why there's
That's my
RICO
feeling.
charges being pointed at Pump.Fun and Solana's foundation,
But
Solana's
okay,
CEO.
but I have a friend who kept me saying about Dogecoin for like 3 years ago, and it would have been a good investment. It was around
What does
7
that mean?
cents back then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it was you. It
because I
was
think
you.
because but Doge is an actual blockchain. It's a fork of Bitcoin.
I
Right? It's
understand,
not
but
some
it's still.
random coin made on Solana. It's an
Yeah,
actual
yeah. I mean, it definitely
it's an
grew
actual
up.
blockchain that has purposes and apps and NFTs and shit like that. It's like buying Solana. But my thesis around Doge, and I don't own any Doge, is that as long as Elon's alive and we have crypto cycles, Elon will pump it at least once every cycle. So if you buy at the
Yeah.
end, like the dead of the market, one cycle, you should at least make some money by the next cycle as long as
We should have a market
I
for
mean, listen,
that.
I used to have it. I used to have it like back in the day. I mean, this is like 2020. I feel like, yeah, 2021. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, I made money. I'm like, it just gets, I'm good.
I don't need this anymore. Okay, I'm done with that. But we should have a market for this. Will Elon pump Dogecoin this cycle?
Yeah, how
Why
many
not?
tweets from Elon about Dogecoin?
On Doge? Yeah, for sure. That's a good market.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
play that market. So shout out to Aaron here. Excited to layer these onto all our other data features on Cautionomics. He's talking about these tweet here. And Aaron is going to be in the show in a couple of weeks as well. So new feature update, filter by liquidity and volume incentives on all Caution markets. Layer this on any additional filters and sorting to improve your market discovery experience. So as we were talking, Aggie, I mean, it's good to have better tools to filter the markets, to understand exactly what is behind that. And the bid and ask here, probably they can do this as well and add how many people are on each of these sides of the bid and ask here.
Yeah, I think that for serious traders, I mean, people that actually like trying to make like a living on just kind of like a side little fun thing, I think it's like the more data you can have, the better. And, you know, using these like Cautionomics kind of type of tools can definitely like help with that.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree with that. Okay, moving forward here. This is from MSL Communications. Today, Soccer United Market and Polymarket announced it multi-year partnership with MSL and Leagues Cup. So the MSL is the Major League Soccer. So it's football in the United States, or soccer for Americans. And Leagues Cup that will offer new ways for fans to engage with matches and follow season-long storylines by integrating prediction markets into the fan experience. What caught my attention is that they didn't use the phrasing that we saw with other associations, saying that Polymarket is the exclusive prediction market partner, because we saw that in the past. So I was just wondering, maybe they could also have a partnership with Cauchy as well. I don't know.
Maybe,
or any other
maybe
market.
it's in the works,
Maybe.
or yeah, with others. But I just think it's like actually a really big win for Major League Soccer, because obviously in US it's not as popular as like, you know, basketball and hockey and football. I mean, you know, so I think for Major League Soccer, that's like a great way to bring more attention to those games.
Are you guys in the World Cup? Did America qualify? Yeah, because you are hosting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I think this is an interesting play with regard to the World Cup, right? Because whatever prediction market manages to get some sort of attachment to the World Cup will fucking explode this summer. And I'm really keen to know. So Aggie, is Cauchy doing anything?
I'm sure they're doing.
You heard any
I'm sure they're trying.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Look, our eyes lying. What is our eyes telling? That may have been the biggest giveaway ever. Don't look at them. They have information. Don't look at them.
I can't confirm nor deny. It's out of my power. No, I mean, but it's soccer. I mean, that will be huge. I mean, it's across so many cities. I mean, they'll start building out and like advertising already and putting little soccer balls like everywhere. I mean, it's just gonna be huge. And yeah, it's just gonna for prediction markets as well. It's just gonna be like I think it's gonna be like really insane time, but it's exciting.
Yeah, and man, so I've been talking about how I think that we are going to have all-time highs in all metrics for prediction markets during the World Cup, and I'm really interested to see how those people who are going to be onboarded through the World Cup are going to stay. If are they going to stay only for sports? Are they going to stay for culture? And I think most of them are going to experience around. An example that I've always used is so soccer is huge here in Brazil. People are already using prediction markets here. And I do believe that most of them are going to stay after the World Cup for politics, because we have presidential elections 3 months after the World Cup.
Oh, wow.
So I think we are going to see the World Cup as an onboarding, and this is happening only in Brazil, but there's shit going on all over the world. So I think FIFA World Cup will be the onboarding for a huge amount of people, and those people are going to stay around for other kinds of markets. And I see culture, especially, and then politics as their home after the World Cup.
It'll be huge. I mean, I think was the Polymarket data or something. It was like the 2/3 of people like come back. So I think like that's kind of like the industry like benchmark right now. So yeah, I think even after the World Cup, I mean, people will stay and trade other markets. Like absolutely. Whether it's 50 or 70, like that's just, up in the air, but like it's absolutely going to be like some crazy, like, volumes and just users that will come out of this.
That's it. I think so. I agree. So guys, moving to the end of the show here, I just want to highlight a few articles here. Some of these writers, I'm always highlighting the articles in the end of the show, guys. Some of them are really long. Not all the time we have time to go over them. But you can find a link to those articles on our newsletter at dollartrade.xyz. Let me just share here. Dollartrade.xyz. It goes out twice a week with a newsletter based on what we cover here in the show, of links for the articles. And on Saturday, you will receive the Week in Prediction Markets, which is just a list of news that you can review.
I love it. It's like fun to like always read it and catch up in case you like missed something or whatever, or even send it to someone else because like maybe they're not familiar. So I definitely recommend.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. So from Serbhi, implied leverage, the prediction market superpower, no barring names. It's interesting. So her thesis here, it's how prediction market has an kind of an embedded leverage when you take these really cheap markets at 1 cent, 5 cents. It works like a kind of average where you have no risk of margin calls. You don't have to have some deposits there. You just buy a position and you potentially have leverage. It's an interesting way of it's more like a perspective on how you understand prediction markets. It's a nice article here. She gives a lot of examples. Then this is by me. It's how Polymarket will need its own chain. It's my case for a Polymarket chain in the near future, after we have clarity on regulation, when the competition and the distribution between prediction markets are not as hot as it is right now. And it's based on this message that I saw here. There was a problem with Polygon. I sent message to a couple of friends. They were having problems in making their trades. It was a couple of days ago. And I think there's an opportunity for Polymarket to create their own chain, something like Hyperliquid did. If you guys don't recall, Hyperliquid used to be an app on Arbitrum, and they have own chain, they have their own ecosystem. And the same way, basically, Cauchy, we have a lot of projects being built around Cauchy. We have a lot of projects being built around Polymarket. So it's becoming an ecosystem. And for me, it makes total sense for them to have a chain. And
I mean, if you want to, I think everyone's like growing is going to be billions of dollars in revenue eventually, like actual revenue, not just like volume. So like you want to control as much as you can. So I think that will be important for them.
Yeah. Imagine for traders, you cannot have downtime. if you have a trading platform. It has to be open and working properly all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it dovetails with ICE building their own blockchain trading because ICE are going to tokenize all the stocks. I don't see
Hmm.
much. It would make sense that ICE would buy Polymarket, then announce they're building their own chain, and Polymarket not be on it.
Hmm.
It doesn't make
Hmm.
sense to
Hmm.
me
Yeah,
that they
connecting the
wouldn't migrate
dots. I
over,
like it.
and
Yeah.
Polymarket wouldn't be deeply involved in what infrastructure you require to do high volume trades.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, it's an interesting one, and I would like to be right that they end up using ISIS because then Alpha was here.
Yeah, and I
Right
think there
here.
will be if they explore this path, there's a huge opportunity for Polymarket as a business becoming an open company and have their ICO, while this other company behind the chain be the crypto native one and release tokens. So in this scenario, we could potentially have equity and tokens at the same time, not being the same thing, not messing around
Yeah.
with stuff. I think that will be a good opportunity here. And this is from Yannick. So shout out to Yannick. So he's been writing some good content here on,
Is he
especially
coming on
where
the
are the
show?
articles. I can invite him for sure. So how to profit from volatility and market mispricing on poly markets, how to earn scalping with poly scalping, plus bonus interview with founder, and Polymarket platform for creating earning strategies. So guys has been putting a lot of content on Polymarket as well. Shout out to him. This one is how to profit from volatility and market mispricing on Polymarket. So we will have a link for this article in tomorrow's newsletter as well. Oh, this is interesting. So Vinci, just a suggestion. I would create a better title for it. It's interesting, but it needs a hook here. 1,500 plus Polymarket GitHub repos. And what she states here is I've compiled every Polymarket GitHub repository out there. After detailed analysis, identify the key repos that can help you build your unique product, technology, or trading system. And then she delves into this. So if you're building something on Polymarket, on this ecosystem that I just mentioned is being built, both on Polymarket and Cauchy, I mean, check this out. It's dev talk. I'm
It's
not
like
dev, but
132K
yeah,
views. That's pretty impressive. So people
it
are definitely
is.
Yeah.
like interested in that and they want to
It
build
is.
around it.
People are going to build. I
Yeah.
mean, I think nowadays it's getting clear that, I mean, it's not a game of the winner takes all between Polymarket, Cauchy, Limitless Opinion. It's not. We are going to see multiple huge platforms in the
Yeah.
space, but I think the entry level would be building tools for this, for people who better take advantage of these established platforms that we see nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is CloudBot was all over the timeline during the weekend. I don't know if your timeline was like this, and this guy is just sharing how to
Oh,
set up a
1.9
CloudBot.
million views.
This is
Yeah.
huge. This is a good hook. So, dude, who doesn't want to build a cloud bot or a bot or an AI assistant, vibe coding through a weekend, give that $100, and then become a millionaire in a few weeks doing nothing? I mean, it's great. Anyway, there are some articles also covering how some of those bots does not work, but on the other side, we had last show here an article showing how Grok was being really accurate with the with the outcome of a lot of
Hmm.
markets. So it's definitely something that you can make work for you. And it talks about Polymarket here, but probably something that you can build throughout different prediction markets, and especially trying to search for arbitrage opportunity in different markets here.
Yeah.
And last but not least, and finally, what I mentioned before, tools that help predict temperature on Polymarket, which it was one of the top volume markets last weekend, both for Cauchy and Polymarket, because
Well, it
of
was
the
like crazy
snowstorm.
what was happening in US. I mean, it was like
Uh-huh.
freezing and snowing, and then I made some money on the snow in New York City, but like it was just crazy because it was just I don't know, like it hasn't happened in a long time like that. This insanity.
I just saw a guy. He posted a map of the U.S. and he was comparing how Miami was colder than some places in Alaska. Fuck, that was
Wow.
crazy. That was
Wow.
crazy.
I didn't
Yeah,
realize
bro.
it was all the way. I had a relative traveling back to South Carolina, and they rerouted her all over the place. But
My
I hadn't
friend,
realized it got all the way down there.
yeah, so my business partner lives in Miami and we were talking and she was just saying even yesterday how like it is so much traffic right now. She's like, it's almost like our Basel, which was like the craziest week in Miami in December and everybody flies in because I feel like it was so cold everywhere in US, like, you know, LA, Chicago, New York, I mean, the entire US. So everybody flocked to like Florida because it was like the warmest one because everything was like blue and that was at least like orange, like in terms of temperature. But yeah, it's just like insane. Like, so
Yeah, that's mad.
So
who's that?
that's it. That's you. So shout out
That's
to Aggie.
you. I think I've
Yeah.
met that person. I don't know. The person I met has a black cap, so I don't know who that is.
So if you're listening to us, thanks a lot. Make sure to follow Aggie. Make sure to check her Substack. It's here on the recommendations of our Substack as
Oh,
well.
thank you. I need to write an article. It's been a while, so I've been, you know, slacking, but I definitely have like a bunch of ideas.
Tell us a little
Amazing.
bit,
And
Cauchy Girls. What's going on with Cauchy Girls?
It's you know, we kind of like took a bit of a pause and then we're gonna like try to do all these things early in the new year. And I guess it's already like the whole month has just flown by. And yeah, I mean, we're just, you know, trying to figure out how to grow the community, how to get more women into it, and like what topics and everything is like appealing. And obviously now with like the soccer, I feel like that could be like an opportunity because women are into that as well. And it's just like such a like, I don't know, it's like the total attendance of like female versus male, but I think that's like a good opportunity.
Niche down, and yeah, because the Women's World Cup, I presume, is like a couple of weeks after the men's, right?
they're
Yeah, but
close.
even
Yeah,
like the
they're
men's,
close.
it's just like, you know, like everybody's like all eyes are on it. Everybody wants to support their country and things like that and go to
True.
these like
Yeah.
games, so like matches. So like soccer games, I guess is the correct word. But yeah, it will be like I think a good opportunity.
Yeah. Great.
Fuck, I don't follow. Let's
Woo-woo.
check this. Yeah, and I always had even some of the profiles that I don't follow. I always have you guys here on my prediction market list. So if you're listening to us and if you're writing about prediction markets or if you're publishing content on prediction markets, make sure to tag the Dollar Trade and tag me so I can include you on the lineup of the show or I can mention you guys on the newsletter. Aggie, thanks once again for joining the show. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. It's always
Thanks so
great.
much for
And
having me.
yeah, if you have some last words for people for where they can find you, it's Lonely Predicts on X, right?
Yes. Maybe you should share how your lists. I think that's like always valid because people want to know like who you follow as well. They're like, oh, like where can I learn? And you know, rather than just like going for like the followers or something, maybe you know, you should talk about your lists or something and feel like that's like a cool thing as well.
Okay, good idea. Good idea. I gotta share a link for the list on the next newsletter as well. So it's
Exactly.
not
Yeah.
it's not it's not that crowded, but I've been trying to filter people who are putting out some good content on prediction markets. So you don't have your
Exactly.
timeline crowded. You just go here and top things that are happening. You're going to see here.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys,
Awesome.
thanks a
Well,
lot.
thanks so
Thanks
much,
a lot,
guys.
Nick. Thank you,
Yeah.
Aggie. Hope to have you soon on the show again. And just remember, nothing that we saw that we mentioned here is financial advice, some life advice. That's it. We will be back next Monday, maybe Tuesday, but probably on Monday.
I don't know
I'll
what's
tune
happening
in.
on Tuesday. Why are we doing it on Tuesday?
I don't know. We are trying to move the show from Monday to Tuesday. So if you guys have feedback on that, we already have some guests scheduled for Monday. If we are able to change, we are going to let you know to do the show on Tuesday. Otherwise, it's still on Monday.
All right. Thanks for coming,
Okay.
Aggie. It was good
Thanks.
hearing.